And welcome to Let's Read Destiny Grimoire Episode 2. So, I'm actually, you know what? So first of all, hi everyone. It's been a while. I'm actually going to add some Destiny, ambience. And you know what? Let's add the orbit music. Okay. Anyway, so last time, from what I was seeing, was ghosts, and this time we're gonna do dead ghosts. Battered and drained of their light, these ghosts are nevertheless valuable for the information they preserve. Their recovered memories may well prove vital to the city's survival. While dead ghosts troubles the city's scholars, are new ghosts still being born? With the number of ghosts dwindling, will there come a day when no more remain, an end to the rise of new guardians? If that day is coming, then the city faces a desperate race against time to heal the traveler before attrition takes its toll. Ghost Revenant's Ghosts. Beyond. It's a place casting shadows and emotion. It's a real place, I know. One hot blue sun, say, and other suns too? 5? I like 7 better. What I'm recalling is a giant star with a family of 6 smaller suns. You could spend days and nights counting all the planets circling those suns. Except there are no planets, not anymore. I was in charge of carved up all these worlds, and maybe a brown dwarf or two for good measure. That rubble, they fashioned a topologically creative enclosure, a twisting of space and time sealed behind doors that admit only those who know the magic words. The bones of 100 planets, and cut smooth and laid out like a floor, a polished and lovely floor, creating vast living spaces. A floor bigger than 10,000 worlds, catching the fierce glory of the summoned suns, for light, for food, for beauty. And nothing escapes. No heat, not gravity, not even the faintest proud sound. It could be anywhere. It can live in the cold between galaxies, folded up inside matter near enough to touch right now. I remember it, and maybe it's exactly as describe it. 7 suns wrapped inside magic. Or something else entirely, perhaps. A place still fat with life, an abundance of sentient souls, some decent, maybe few of lesser quality, and everybody stands about or floats about, like in bounds between dimensions. Point is, the residents of Zyphreium live inside a bottle so perfectly hidden that they can't see beyond their own borders, which shapes a mind in very specific ways, but beyond is their name for a mysterious, doubtful realm they can't see, which is us, of course. Is that like the inside of the Traveler? Subclasses. Guardian abilities. There's a light in you from which no darkness can hide. Only Guardians have the gift of the Traveler's Light, the ability to channel its energies to project vast power into the world. Even without a firearm, our Guardian is a radiant engine of destruction. Though these abilities rise from within, Guardians master their power in different ways. Titans understand the light as a force to hone through practice and strict discipline. Hunters roam and explore in order to learn, using dangerous methods to survive the wilds. And warlocks study the light and its inner mechanisms, confronting unfathomable mysteries in search for transcendent might. What's ranking and abilities? From Lord Saladin's induction speech. Nothing born is born strong. I know I began weak, the same as you. I don't care if you're an exo staring at the number and wondering where you've come from. Human hungry to understand the ancient world that left you for dead. You're woken and reborn in the very essence of what your people hide from. Together we're the pointed end of a long stick of happenstance. Change one ripple in an ancient ocean, and we would never been granted the light within us, or the good ghosts that want to help us. Humble origins. Our world begins as a big pebble lost among trillions of pebbles. A worthy sun was once cold hydrogen spread thin across the vacuum. Even the universe, this cosmic garden that surrounds us and awes us, this monument to creation, was once the size of an apple seed. And that splendid and great stands at the end of incalculable chance and mayhem. Yes, you have talents, enormous, wondrous powers, but you should put that smirk away. Do you know what a guardian is? Not yet. Your name is another pebble. You are a cold apple seed, but you will grow. Striker. At close quarters, a fist is better than any gun. Striker Titans charge into close combat, armored in light and wielding fistfuls of thunder. Striker tactics depend on shock and disciplined aggression. Must awe and scatter the enemy or risk being overwhelmed. While Guardians prize their ability to draw fire as they shatter the enemy line. Defender. The wall against which the darkness breaks. Defender Titans are immovable anchors, trained to absorb punishment and control the flow of battle. Armed with unflinching conviction and an armory of void techniques, defenders block enemies' movements, shrug off their fiercest weapons, and rally fellow guardians to strike back. Gunslinger. Lone wolf who lives for the perfect shot. And then doesn't it all come down to you and your gun? Don't see much else to say about it. That's just the truth. Blade Dancer. Beautiful lethality, relentless style. Something to be said for the blade. A knife won't jam, knife won't run dry, a knife is very, very quiet. Leave the noise and fire to others. There's work to be done out there in the dark, monsters that deserve death, delivered quickly, silently, and without mercy. Voidwalker. Those who have stared into the void are not bound by the laws of space and time. Traveler came out of the void that surrounds all things. Thus we know that the void is full of power, thus we enter the void without fear. Small minds will call your abilities blasphemous, compared to the abominable wizards of the Hive. You will not be held back. Gifted with a traveler's light, armed with the secret physics of a lost age, you will tear reality asunder. You will fear nothing, and nothing will not fear you. Sunsinger. Yeah, boy. There are flames that even the darkness cannot extinguish. But Bungie sure can. These are dark times. Humanity stands on the brink of extinction. We will carry fire into that darkness, a beacon to guide the way, and a pyre to consume our great enemy. The light saved us from death and forged us into weapons. We seek to understand it, to embrace it, to consume and can be consumed by it. We hope to become radiant. Our fellow guardians need our power. Our civilization needs our strength. Melee abilities. Punch. Brute strength of the Titans melee offers a full force response to immediate danger. Stab. Their finely tuned reflexes hunters are naturally gifted with knives. The make and shape of the perfect knife is a matter of endless debate. Then Palm. Curiosity gets a warlock in trouble, and a force of will gets a warlock out. Even novices can shear reality with a single deadly gesture. Grenade abilities. Oh, even more. Flashbang grenade. An explosive grenade that disorients enemies and damages, leaving them vulnerable to gunfire and close combat. Pulse grenade. A grenade that periodically damages enemies inside its explosion radius. An effective tool for area denial. Lightning grenade. Grenade that sticks to any surface, periodically melting bolts of lightning. Magnetic grenade. Grenade that attaches enemies and explodes twice, designed to crack the armor of hard targets. Scatter grenade. Grenade that splits into many submunitions and covers a large area with explosions. Suppressor grenade. An explosive grenade that prevents enemies from using abilities for a short time. Skip grenade. Grenade that splits on impact, creating multiple projectiles which seek out enemies. Arc bolt grenade. Grenade that chains bolts of lightning to nearby enemies, tidying up groups of hostiles. Then Flux grenade. Grenade which deals additional damage to attached enemies. Practice your toss. Incinerator grenade. A grenade that catches enemies in fire, causing additional damage over time. Trip mine grenade. So is a grenade that sticks to the surface and detonates when enemies pass through its laser trigger. Swarm grenade. Grenade detonates on impact, releasing multiple drones that seek nearby enemies. Solar grenade. Grenade that creates a flare of solar light, which will continually damage enemies trapped inside. Firebolt grenade. A grenade that unleashes bolts of solar light at nearby enemies. Then fusion grenade. An explosive grenade that causes bonus damage when attached to its target. Vortex grenade. And it creates a vortex which continually damages enemies trapped inside. Spike grenade. A grenade that attaches to any surface and emits a torrent of damaging void light. Axiom bolt. A bolt of void light which forks into smaller bolts on impact, seeking out enemies. Then we got movement modes. We got the double jump. Bend momentum to jump again in midair. Leap to even greater heights or make a quick adjustment while airborne to disorientate your foes. Glide. Break the bonds of gravity and convert your jump into a long, smooth glide. Cross dangerous terrain and float from perch to perch to keep the high ground. Blink. Rip a hole in space and leap from point to point. Master blink and you'll be a fearsome killer. A spectral force hard to evade and impossible to pin down. Lift. Leap into a powered jump. A long, slow arc makes you target, but used carefully, it's a superb way to break contact. You can control the high ground or set up devastating ambushes. Super ability. The Fist of Havoc. Leap forward and smash the ground, obliterating everything nearby. You will be a thunderbolt, but use your fury carefully. If there are survivors, you will surely draw their wrath. Ward of Dawn. Open a pocket in the universe and impregnable fortress for you and your allies. The mighty ward allows guardians to hold key points and gather their strength in the face of overwhelming opposition. Golden Gun. Dry hand cannon burning with solar light and loaded with 3 rounds of sunfire. Aim steady and keep your wits about you. You're a gunslinger and this is what you live for. Arc blade. Set aside your weapons and lose yourself in the blade trance. Arc light galvanizes your armor and hastens your movements. When your knife finds a target, it discharges a snap of annihilating current. As long as the trance lasts, you are the very shadow of death. Nova bomb. Channel Trevor's light into a bolt of energy with the power of a collapsing star. The devastating Nova bomb scours the battlefield with ethereal fire, but be careful in its use. It takes precious moments to summon, and it must be aimed precisely to avoid obstacles. Radiance. Open yourself to light, glimpse for a few rapturous moments the truth beyond the powers you wield. Warlock in a city radiance threatens to slip beyond the bonds of the material, stroking at physical harm, channeling a torrent of abilities. Some may learn to elevate nearby guardians, gifting them with power. Others, entranced by the ghost's power to reach beyond death, may learn to pluck themselves out of nothingness like the phoenix of ancient myth. That's me. We got our inventory and primary weapons. This all seems to be, I hope that this PDF actually has, the first DLC. Auto rifles. All-purpose weapons of war. The center auto rifle is ideal for the number of combat scenarios, unless you're in year 1. This ability is a key to controlling fully automatic weapons. Cirrus Regime. Nostalgia as a weapon of war, style as a hallmark of victory. Cirrus engineers redesigned the regime using recovered Golden Age schematics. Forced out of production by a crippling shortage of smart matter, few remaining models are cherished by those guardians fortunate enough to wield them. Hardlight. Ionized polymer symbolistic attack platform. The system lethality is a monocular bust across tactical spaces. City's understanding of Golden Age methods expands. Foundries continue to push the cutting edge of tactical armament. The Hardlight prototype is a showcase built with the rarest recoverable materials and most computationally demanding design methods. 19 included several special exos and at least one Warlock Thanatonaut. In its current iteration, Hardlight design fires a superheated polymer round with exotic capabilities. Monte Carlo. Will always be paths to tread and methods to roll with it. Originally designed as a showpiece, the Monte Carlo's sleek demeanor and intricate firing system make it more than a fashion statement. In the right hands, he puts all the risk at the wrong end of its bayonet. Scout Rifles. The preferred weapon of a seasoned marksman, Scout Rifle is a single-shot precision firearm. Favoring accuracy above all else, Scout Rifle packs increased stopping power to counter its low rate of fire. Mida Multi-Tool. Select application, ballistical engagement, entrenching tool, Evanics Troll Smasher, Stellar Sextant. List continues. Few weapons are balanced this precisely. Once you get a feel for the multi-tool, it will sit weightlessly in your hand. Firing it will feel less like an action and more like an extension of your will. Fate of all fools. Wise man knows his fate, the fool merely finds it. Weapon gases data on the targets from the impact and spall solid body shots, setting up a devastating final hit. Yeah, for the one person who actually owns this gun. Was there seriously only one scout rifle? So is that not a pulse rifle? No. There was seriously only one scout rifle in vanilla? Pulse rifles. Pulse rifles designed for precision fire and tight shot grouping. 3-round bursts provide added punch with reduced recoil compared to fully automatic weapons. Skilled shooters often walk the burst from the target's center mass onto the head. Bad juju. You believe your weapon wants to murder all existence, and so it will. There must be a structured mechanical explanation for this weapon's hunger for combat. There must be, when none has been found. I know he's dead, or maybe, but, like, I don't know about you, but Destiny 2 hasn't talked about whatever his name is in a long time, or ever. Red Death, well, we don't even know where Eris is, as far as I'm aware. Red Death. Your policy urges Guardians to destroy this weapon on sight. It is a Guardian killer. Only rumors tell of the mad Guardian who fashioned this butcher's tool. But its power is undeniable and fear is a formidable weapon. Hand Cannon. Sturdy and reliable, hand cannons have long been a preferred tool for self-defense. Low rate of fire and modest accuracy is more than up by their ease of handling and superior stopping power. Hawkmoon. Stalk thy prey and let loose thy talons upon the darkness. Hawkmoon is a true gunslinger's weapon, and a smooth sidearm that makes every bullet count, some more than others. Last word. Ugh. Yours, not mine. Last word is a romantic weapon. A throwback to simpler times when steady aim and large rounds were enough to dispense justice in the wilds of a lawless frontier. Of course, some might say that time has come again. Fragment the lost word. I'm writing this from memory. Some mine, but not all. Facts won't sync with the reality, but they'll be close. There's no one to say otherwise. So for all intents and purposes, this will be the history of a settlement we call Palamon, the horrors that followed in an all too brief peace. I remember home and stories of a paradise we'd all get to see someday, of a city shining even in the night. Palamon didn't shine, but it was a sanctuary of a sort. We'd settle in the heart of a range that stretched the horizon, wooded mountains that shot with purpose towards the sky. Winters were harsh, but the trees and peaks hid us from the world. We talked about moving on, sometimes striking out for the city, but it was just a longing. Drifters came and went. On occasion they would stay, but rarely. No real government, but there was a rule of law. Basic tenets agreed upon by all and eventually overseen by Magistrate Loken. There you have it, no government until there was. I was young, so I barely understood. I remember Loken as a hard-working man who just became broken. Most I think he was sad and frightened. When he was starting to plumb, people left. Those who stayed saw our days become gray. Loken's protection for the fallen from ourselves became dictatorial. Looking back, I think maybe Loken just lost too much of himself, his family. Everyone lost something, and some of us had nothing to begin with. I remember my parents was a haze like a daydream. Small light and a small light, like the spark of their souls. It's not anything to draw on. They left me early, taking my dregs. My mom raised me from there. The family I call my own. Called my own. Cared for me as if I was their natural-born son. Life was good, being the only life I knew. My judgment is skewed. It wasn't easy, pocked by loss it was, but I would call it good. Until, of course, it wasn't. Until two men entered my world. One a light, the darkest shadow I would ever know. Last word, too. The man I would come to know as Jaren Ward, my third father, and quite possibly my closest friend, came to Palamon from the south. I was just a boy, but I'll never forget his silhouette on the empty trail as he made his slow walk into town. I've seen anything like him, maybe none of us had. He'd said he was only passing through and I believed him. Still do, but life can get in the way of a tent and often does. I can picture that day with near-perfect clarity. For all the details, though, every nuance, every moment, memory that sticks in my mind is the iron on Jaren's hip, hand that looked both pristine and lived in. Like a relic of every battle he'd ever fought, hung low at his waist, a trophy and a warning. This man was dangerous, but there was a light about him, a pureness to his weight, that seemed to hint that his eye was something earned, not carelessly given. I'd been the first to see him as he approached. Most of the Palamon turned out to greet him. They held me back as everyone stood in silence. Jaren didn't make a sound beyond his sleek racer's helmet. He looked just like the heroes in the stories, and to this day I'm not sure, or the other, if the silence between the townspeople and the adventurer born a fear or respect. The thing that lied about any truth I tried to place on the moment would be my own making. I waited for Magistrate Loken to arrive and make an official greeting. My patience got the best of me. I freed my father's heavy hand and made the short sprint across the court, hopping a few paces from where this new curiosity stood, a man unlike any other. There about him, he lowers attention to me, his eyes hidden behind the thick-tinted visor of his headgear. As I quickly fell to his sidearm, I was transfixed by it. And all the places that weapon had been, all the wonders it had seen, the horrors it had endured. My imagination darted from one heroic act to the next. I barely registered when he began to kneel. Yet the iron as if in an offering, but my eyes locked into the piece, mesmerized. I recall turning back to my father and seeing the looks on the faces of everyone I knew. I was worried there, my father slowly shaking his head as if pleading me to ignore the gift. I turned back, the man I would come to know as Jaren Ward, the finest hunter this system may ever know and one of the greatest guardians to ever defend the Traveler's Light. I took the weapon in my hand carefully, gently. Not to use, but to observe, to imagine, to feel its weight and know its truth. It's the first time I held last word, but unfortunately not the last. Thorn. To rend one's enemies is seen not as equals, but objects, hollow of spirit and meaning. Augmented through dark practices, Thorn was once a hero's weapon. Jagged frame hints at a sinister truth, a powerful connection to the unutterable sorceries of the Hive. Yet Thorn is bound to rise and fall of dredging New York, a guardian whose name is remembered with disgust and shame. No one sought destroyed, but rumors of existence still haunts the wilds. Ghost Fragment Thorn. The rose. The nobleman stood, and the people looked to him. He was a beacon, a hope given form, yet still only a man. And in truth, there was a great promise. If one man could stand against the night, then so too could anyone, everyone. His strong hand, the man held a rose. The aura burned bright. The man journeyed on, the people remembered. In his wake, hope spread. The man had a secret fear. His thoughts were dark. Sadness crept from the depths of his being. He'd been a hero for so long, but pride had led him down sorrow's road. Slowly, the shadows' whispers became a voice, a dark call, faint glories enough to make even the brightest light wander. He knew it was fading, yet still he yearned. On his last day, he sat and watched the sun fall. His final thoughts, pure mind if not body, held to a fleeting hope. Though they would suffer for the man he would become, the people would remember him as all he had been. So the old man hid himself beneath a darkness no flesh should touch, and gave up his mortal self to claim a new birthright. This was a choice or destiny, is the truth known only to fate. In that cool evening air, as dusk was devoured by night, the old man ceased to exist. In his place another stood, same meat, same bone, but so very different. First and only of his family, the sole forebearer and last descendant of the name Yor. In his first moments as a new being, he looked down at his rose. It is for the first time that it had held no petals, a jagged purpose of angry thorns. But that's gonna be it for this episode, though. So if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. See ya!